I once did a video about living here in the Canary Islands, and one person replied saying, "Why would you live there? There's no history in the Canary Islands." There's a lot of history here, and because I live here, it's quite important to me not just to visit places but to know the history as well. Like Franco basically started the Spanish Civil War from here. Then you have Christopher Columbus. But I've came across quite an interest. I like to know kind of the more local histories, right? And I want to talk today about a guy called El Rubio, translates to the blonde one because of his hair. Back in 76, things in Spain were changing. Franco had just died, and there was a few worried people in Spain and here in the Canary Islands worried about what's going to happen in the future. Will the socialists come back into government? Will they be looking for payback? And a few people who were connected to Franco got very rich because of this connection. And one particular guy was here in Gran Canaria, where I live, a guy called Fuentes. And back then, the tobacco industry was massive here in the Canary Islands, and he made a lot of money. Uh, One night in June 1976, a group of raiders, mass raiders, came to his place. I passed it in the car the other day. It's like a palace, right? Up by Santa Brigida here in the north of Gran Canaria. Kidnapped them, and soon after, they were asked for 9 million pesetas in ransom. Soon after, a badly mutilated body was found, and the police reckon it was Fuentes. Um, Now, a chief suspect straight away was a guy called Angel Cabrera Batista El Rubio. Um, in the 70s, there were kind of two small independence movements here in the Canary Islands that wanted independence from Spain. Now, they were very small, not very well supported. There would have been nothing like ETA in the Basque region or in Catalonia today. But there was one wanted it through peaceful means, and the other didn't mind using a bit of violence, and that was the group of El Rubio. He was their leader. So anyway, the police were searching for him. He became the chief suspect, and he was found up in the mountains here, and there was a big shootout during which one of the civil guards, Guardia Civil, was shot dead. Now, in fairness, Rubio, the civil guard were shooting at him too, but he managed to escape. Now, we know that he spent time in Algeria and South America, but the really strange part for me is that he came back to the Canary Islands and he was living in northern Tenerife. Now, the police had stopped looking for him, but I'm still like amazed that he was walking around free and nobody kind of told the police or whatever, you know. But anyway, one day, after about 14 years on the run, he gave himself up into a police station here. He walked in here in Las Palmas in Gran Canaria. There was a young police officer there, and he said, "Look, I'm Batista El Rubio." And the young policeman didn't know anything about the history and said, "Look, I'm having my coffee. Can you come back in 20 minutes?" So I happened to tell one of the more senior officers there, and the man goes, "What? Where is he?" So they ran out the door, and El Rubio was casually having a coffee outside the door. So he was arrested, and after a trial, he was sentenced to 34 years, of which he served 20 because he was released because of ill health, and he lived for 4 years after that. But during the trial, he didn't say anything. The only time he spoke is when the judge asked him, was he comfortable in the seat? And he was like, yes. Other than that, he never admitted to any killing or anything like that. Right? Now, here in the Canary Islands, people who still remember the story, most people to this day don't believe that he committed the murder. People are saying, why would you mutilate a body so badly so it can't be identified and leave his pajamas there? That's how he was identified primarily. So that's a big question. And the other question that I find amazing, right? He gave himself up after 14 years on the run in Spain at that time anyway. If you passed 20 years on the run, you couldn't be prosecuted for that crime. The statute of limitation had run out. So people are asking, why did he give himself up after 14 years and then had to like spend 20 years in prison, right? Now, one of the theories behind that is that was the 80s. The first socialist government since Franco died came in under President Gonzalez, and they were in talks with ETA, the Basque people who wanted freedom, independence for the Basque region. It's known that El Rubio did have some connections with ETA. So some people think that maybe he thought he would never have to serve time because there was kind of like peace talks going on and he wouldn't have to serve time. But he was wrong in that anyway. So will we ever know if he killed them? Will we ever know why he gave himself up? No, he's dead. And that's what makes it such a great mystery.